Hello and welcome to CEO Nights with Nyimpini. In this podcast, we get up close and personal with some of the most admired leaders, not just in South Africa, but around the world. You get to be a fly on the wall in a relaxed peer-to-peer conversation between two senior leaders outside of the boardroom. Our guests share their life and leadership journeys, just like I did in my best-selling book, Take Charge, which inspired CEO Nights. Thanks to Nedbank, our main sponsor, and our associate sponsor, Avis Chauffeur Drive, for driving our guests safe. Good evening, and welcome to CEO Nights with me, Nyimpini Mabunda. How are we feeling tonight? Need some more energy! I love it, I love it, I love it. Welcome, and thanks for making time to be here with us, our live audience. Tonight's conversation is very, very inspiring and special. It is so because leadership is really, really tested in tough times, where you have to demonstrate resilience, where you have to demonstrate that depth of your leadership and innovation to come out and problem solving. In great times when the economy is growing and all of that, it's a little bit easier, relatively speaking. But really, leaders are tested when you are in turmoil, in crisis, and tough times. And I would argue that there are very few places where you'll find it tougher than in grocery retail. We all complain about food inflation. We all complain about the basket size and how things are just shrinking. We have to spend more and more. We all complain about the percentage of our salaries that goes into food. And the retailer still has to satisfy us and satisfy the shareholders. It's tough. Just yesterday, listening to an interview given by the former chairman of Pick n Pay, Gareth Ackerman, he said to the media that turning around Pick n Pay will take longer than expected or longer than previously anticipated because the economy is tough. And retail is actually the barometer of what's happening in the economy. So when the economy has been sluggish and having grown, and he said many families are actually struggling to even buy basics today. So imagine that where your cost of doing business, salaries, rentals, fuel and everything is rising at inflation and above, but you can't price up. And you have a margin squeeze in an already low margin environment. Now, imagine being a CEO of a business like that. Not only that, but it gets worse. Taking over a business like that when it has internal issues. And then they throw you to the deep end and say, hey, you are appointed. That is the story of our CEO this evening. We're not here to talk about investor relations stuff. We're here to talk about how do you lead in turmoil. How do you bring confidence in investors and team? And how do you even motivate yourself when things are so tough? And it is your first big CEO role. The good news is that our CEO has navigated those storm waters, and the business is really back on the path to growth. And we want to know, how did he do it? How is he leading? What can we, as aspiring leaders, as established leaders, learn from that journey? Our guest tonight is a through-and-through retailer, having spent over 2 decades in retail, with his current employer for about 18 years, and in the current role for almost 2 years now. And we're going to talk to him and understand how he leads, why is he the one in that role, and what can we learn from him.
Hi, I'm Angelo Swartz. I'm the Group CEO for the Spar Group Ltd. I've just arrived for my interview with Nyimpini on CEO Nights this evening. I truly don't know what to expect. I'm looking forward to the evening and to the conversation, particularly engaging with the audience. I really have no idea what to expect.
So ladies and gentlemen, please give me your loudest noise, your loudest applause, Amaflates, whatever you've got, as we welcome the Group CEO of Spar, Angelo Swartz. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Please take a seat. So great to have you here. Been looking forward to this conversation.
So have I.
I am a customer of yours. Like many people here, I don't have customer complaints, so don't worry.
Okay.
My Sunning Hill and Polo Field Spa,
Oh, wow.
those are the one in my neighborhood in Waterfall, and they serve me very well.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Those are great stores, actually. Not too far from here.
No,
Really
exactly,
great stores.
exactly.
And thank you for a warm welcome. I wasn't expecting that, so thank you to the audience for that.
Talking about groceries and shopping, do you actually do grocery shopping yourself for your family? Or you've got this entourage and everything just happened to be in your fridge?
No. Grocery shopping is a very strange experience for me. And I've got a complicated personal life at the moment. I've got a daughter. She's little. She lives in the Western Cape, and I live in Durban, so I commute between the two places. So my shopping experience is a little bit different in the two places. One when I'm with the family, and another when I'm on my own. Naturally, only shop at Spar.
Yeah, we thought so.
And so whenever I walk into the store, people are sort of walking on eggshells, which is a very strange experience. But it's one of my favorite things to do. I grew up on a shop floor.
Yeah.
So being on a shop floor and in a shopping center is home to me. I started doing it as a teen, and I've always been there. So it's one of the most comforting things for me. It's a strange way to.
I mean, I can relate to that because, and I write in my book, Take Charge, about my growing up. Since the age of 2, my family was in an independent grocery shop. But like I'm talking about those township general dealers. I grew up in that environment, selling a lot of the kind of grocery item that you sell: bread, fish, eggs, and but the basics for the township. And that environment is just so fascinating. It's so real for me because you're interacting with the consumer or the customer all the time, and your staff. It's kind of very different to being in ivory towers and in offices.
It is. So I mean, being on a shop floor is actually the most fun thing to do because you can, in many ways, you see the fruits of your labor immediately. So, if I remember in my early days in retail, my best friend and I were both managers in the same store, and sort of saying to each other, we'd each take a pallet of grapes at Christmas time and see who could empty the pallet first by selling to customers. So that sort of immediate gratification of being on the shop floor is something that's it's something I miss actually.
Yeah, I mean, what I say, because I do a lot of keynote presentations, that as a CEO, as a leader of the business, when people come and present to you and you see that PowerPoint in the boardroom, it's probably version 25. And the truth lies somewhere in version 3 or 4. Yeah. But actually, when you go to visit the shop floor, like I ran breweries and I visit the brewery unannounced, that's where you see version 1. Yeah. Everything else is just beautified for you.
Yeah. And I think that's very true. I mean, oddly enough, I've never thought about it in that context personally. Yeah. And I hope I'm not that sort of leader where people feel they need to dolly things up for me. But I think that's true. It doesn't matter what we do in the boardrooms or behind the scenes. It's what happens on the shop floor that matters. Yeah. How things show up.
Yeah. I mean, talking to what you've just said, you don't think you are that kind of a leader. We've done a bit of research on you, and we know you're not, right? You've been described as quite authentic. What you see is what you get. But I mean, these are aspiring leaders looking to grow. How do you remove that intimidation factor, where people don't feel like they have to tell you what they think you want to hear, and sometimes they can even disagree with you, because that's when the richness of ideas comes in.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting concept, and it's almost trite to say there's a difference between management and leadership. Right?
Yeah.
So managing people can often take fear use fear as a tool.
Yeah.
But it's very focused and task orientated. I think leadership is a very different thing, and I personally ascribe to a leadership philosophy that describes leadership not as an act. I don't think one can choose to be a leader, to be honest, or at least you can't choose to be a leader on your own, because leadership is actually a collective act, right? So there's, and I had a wonderful mentor who used to say to me, you know, if you're leading and nobody's following, you're just going on a walk.
A long walk, not even to freedom.
And so I think that's something that people often misunderstand about leadership. I think the way the world positions leadership today is short-sighted and is egocentric. Because the truth is, you can't lead if people don't choose to follow.
Yes.
And following is a choice. Right? And so leadership is a collective act rather than a personal one.
Yes.
And I don't think leadership gets positioned that way enough.
Yeah. So, talking about humility and being grounded, here's a fun fact. Any guesses what car Angelo drives? I can give you a clue. Did you watch Mr. Bean? Now, my question is, I mean, my son plays basketball and he doesn't have the height of the basketball player yet, but how does he fit in a Mini Cooper?
It's a very strange factor.
Or do you sit at the back like Mr. Bean?
Sometimes. Close enough.
No, but I think the reason I'm bringing that is that is this humility and relatability. Even when I was talking to Angelo about coming here, you know, we love cars and we're sponsored by Avis. We've got luxury cars. But actually, Angelo said, no, I'll actually Uber to you. Not even my driver will pick me up or anything. I'll Uber to you. And this is what we've heard about you. Does that come from your Quebeca upbringing, Ekasi? And you know what I mean? Because the no ego is what comes across all the time, that you are who you are and you don't have to be pretentious. And I think it's quite important in leadership because there are different styles. But tell us a little bit about how that is working for you.
I always find that the most difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was talking to a media consultant this morning. One of the things one has to do when you deal with the media a lot, and it was the first time I engaged with her, and people often say to me, you know, you're authentic or real or whatever, and it's the hardest thing for me to answer because, you know, in a way, it's just who I am. I don't know a different way to be. And I wouldn't want to be anything else anyway. Right? So I can't say it's something I've given deep thought to, but I've been fortunate enough to grow up in a family where, how to describe it? I think my parents both, if I look at my siblings and myself, it starts with who you are as a person, and then the role of a parent, I think more than anything else, is to make your kids comfortable with who they are. And that starts with making them feel worthy of love. Right? And I think I was very fortunate that my parents, as kids, the three of us, never questioned whether we were worthy of getting the love from them or not. And so that foundation, then I think as you grow in life, when you are centered about who you are and you don't feel like you need to I guess, solicit
Yeah.
feelings from other people.
Wow.
It gives you a good base to work from.
Yeah. And it now makes sense, because one of the things my team found out was when you got that big promotion in October 2023, I think, and it was announced in the social media, quite a big number of people congratulated your mother. I think her name is Yolanda.
That's right.
Yeah? They congratulated her, and I think they know that, of course, who you are is a function of how you've been molded and brought up.
True.
Any other lessons from that grounding and roots that you think makes you an effective leader today? Because we all come from different backgrounds, and I always say there's no good or bad background. Because you can draw something out of anything to actually make you the leader you are.
Look, I will say, it's going to seem like a very strange thing, and I promise it's not false modesty. It's not something that I don't necessarily think of myself as a leader, or at least, as I described earlier, a leader who chooses to be a leader, or that's the wrong way of putting it. I don't believe that my acts, whatever I do on my own, can be leadership. It's me choosing to go in a particular direction and people choosing to follow.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me to answer that question, because I genuinely do not think of it as something that one person can do on their own.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if you've, I mean, fantastic author is a guy called Stanley McChrystal. Stanley McChrystal is a 4-star general in the U.S. Army.
Wow.
And I don't believe in the political ideology he comes from, but in terms of leading the U.S. troops, and he was posted to Iraq post the U.S. invasion there, when in a time where they called it the incursion or but he went there and had to sort of be a very unpopular leader in a country that they didn't belong in, to be honest. And he was leading a very diverse team of people. And he was later posted to Afghanistan on a similar mission. And what I found fascinating about him is he talks about this leadership as a system rather than as an act. But he also talks about how the world works today and how different things are. Right? So maybe 20 years ago, management was the standard way of doing things. Right? Yeah. So people got to work, you gave them a process, this is how you did things. And you followed those things. And if you had a question, you didn't use any initiative, you didn't change your mind.
Yeah.
You simply went to the leader and said, or the manager, and said, which way do I go? You made no actual decisions yourself.
I mean, for your part, the business that you lead in has got a lot of entrepreneurs. It's diversified, and if you try and do command and control, you just missing on the richness of ideas and the innovation that comes from those very successful entrepreneurs.
I must say, I underestimated the amount of research you were going to do. So yeah, so Spar's a funny organization in the sense that our business is actually a wholesaler. So you experience us as a retailer, but we actually own, out of just over 1,000 stores in South Africa, we only own about 50. The majority of our stores are owned by local entrepreneurs, and by and large, by people who live in the communities they serve. So it's a privilege to work in an organization like that. But command and control over a network of essentially 1,000 CEOs.
Yeah.
Everybody owns their own store. If I tried to to be directive in that environment, I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
But also it's philosophically different from how Spar positions itself. So we don't see ourselves as a franchise. We see ourselves as a voluntary trading model, and there's a subtle but profound difference between the two. We encourage our entrepreneurs and store owners to customize their offerings to their local communities, as opposed to offering one offer to everybody. And that's why you'll find Spar stores are so different. Sunning Hill would be very different to Polo Field in terms of offering. And that would be very different to
so in some branches
park.
you can buy Masonja because it's in the area where people love Masonja. And
in
so
most,
on.
I mean, something I was talking to someone the other day, and the beauty about our business is I see it in tripe. Right, tripe is a commodity, right? It's we get Afrikaans people and colored people like my family who like making a potjie with tripe. But in the communities we come from, or I come from, certainly I used to run away when my granny cooked that tripe because
you didn't have a mask.
I used to find a reason to sleep somewhere else for a couple of days. But so my family, my grandmother and my mother grew up in Fort Beaufort. But I have a lot of Afrikaans colleagues. Now they'll eat tripe as well. But when they eat tripe, they want that tripe to be white. Like a piece, like a sheep, right?
We call it the tribe that went to private school.
100%.
It's bleached.
But if I go to Ngobo or Mtwata, in the Eastern Cape where I come from, people would look at that product and say, "Hi, not for me." All the taste is gone, right? And the in a way that encompasses Spar, because if I went to Centurion, I might get the private school tripe. But if I go down the road to Emery Park, I'm going to get the type that suits the community.
Amazing. That's localization,
Yeah.
And then being customer centric, which is what you talk about all the time.
And I don't think you can do that in a command and control structure. Right? It's the beauty of the Spar model.
Those local insights and customer feedback.
Get a dedicated relationship banker, preferential rates, 100% home loans, travel and lifestyle perks, and access to wealth solutions. Get the complete private banking experience. Digital when you want it, human when you need it.
You touched on the book, and I found that, I was CEO of GE, running a sort of American company, and I worked for Procter & Gamble as well. There's a lot of military, actually we used to have lots of US force
in
speakers
the US,
come in to speak in business and so on, because of the leadership that comes from there and its transferability to business. So I can relate to the examples you're giving. But we also got to learn, and no surprise to give an example of a book, that you are an avid reader. You actually even give to your team books all the time, or recommend books all the time. So thinking about maybe the last year, which book impacted you the most, and that's kind of top of mind in the way that you lead, or shifted something in you?
I find I do read a lot, right? So and I read a diverse range of things. In the last few years, mostly business. So but I do read for pleasure as well. In fact, I shouldn't say that, because the business books give me pleasure.
Love it. That's what young people will say is a good comeback.
I'll definitely get a copy of that, George.
Thank you.
In the last while, what I've read, I'm trying to think because I don't want to give an unthought through answer.
Yeah, sure. Or maybe the themes.
I reread books often.
Yeah, or maybe the themes. Yeah.
Probably in the last year, the book that I've found in the work environment most useful is by Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks.
Starbucks,
well,
yeah.
You know, he's been in, he's out, he's
great story.
And there's, the name escapes me now, but the book where he came back the first time.
Okay.
You know, where Starbucks lost its way.
Yes.
Forgot who it was as an organization and what was important, and came back. And I think in the context of where our organization was,
yes,
I found that book really inspiring.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the one in the last year that I found.
Yeah.
That I found very practical.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very relatable to also your kind of environment, many outlets and so on.
And then I'm busy reading. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
A book called Prisoners of Geography. It was given to me by our COO, which is a fascinating look at the world and how the physical geography of the world impacts the development of nations.
Yeah.
And how that goes on and how we end up with the geopolitical environment we have today, which is also interesting because you know, the geography in terms of its physical manifestation, where mountains are positioned, where rivers are positioned, how that affects a nation's view of themselves.
Oh, wow.
I think as transferability to how we position ourselves in business, in the world.
Yes.
How seemingly stray or seemingly things that have no relation to your direct business, how that has ripple effects and impacts you.
It's actually a good point because I mean, and especially today in the digital world, we talk about ecosystem.
Yeah.
And everything is connected, and with more apps and smartphones and undersea cable, it just become even more connected. Yeah, to an extent that even in business, you cannot be sure who your competition is. You have to keep on redefining that because with digital, people are offering everything.
I think that's so true. Eh?
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned working in your grandmother's business, I think.
Yes,
in the township, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm so cautious when I use the word spaza shop, but if you don't mind, I'll use it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's got some negative connotations, but but I mean, if I look at South Africa today, the most vibrant economies are the township economies. There's a resilience in the township economy. It is a fun place to do business. And in many ways, the spaza shops are leading innovation. If I look at businesses like KCD, that are really leading through innovation in South Africa. And in many ways, you know, 5 years ago, if you asked me whether a spaza shop was a competition to a big corporate retailer, I'd probably have gone, well, you know, yes, we sell the same thing, but
things have shifted.
But things have shifted, and I think, I mean, it's a really interesting market now.
Yeah. Wow. And so on that point, one of the things that fascinates me about your background, sort of 18 years now at Spar, sometimes people say that there's a general belief that if you stay too long in one place, you can become complacent and you're not seeing, you're not externally focused enough and you don't know what's out there, you don't have the benchmark. And of course, that's not true because it's also about how you look at the world and how you go out there. But how are you keeping yourself relevant and aware of what's happening in your external environment? Is that important for a leader?
I mean, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Spar in many ways has been an organization where labor turnover in Spar is almost non-existent. I tease our people and I say, Spar's got like, have you ever, you know the song Hotel California? There's a lyric in the song that says you can check out but you can never leave.
Love it. You know, you've already answered my future question. What's in your Spotify playlist? You can tell the future.
I'm not cool enough to have Spotify.
All right, which cassette? Don't you roll like this?
That's closer.
Yeah.
So I think Spar, again, it's less about me.
Yeah.
I try to be modern. I've got fairly modern and liberal views on life. But I also have an old school view of things in some ways. And I again, you know, I think self-help authors and have killed some things by glamorizing them and making them inauthentic.
Yes.
I truly believe that you grow best when you have a purpose. And I've been fortunate in Spar in one way. I don't think I've had the fortune of, I have had the fortune of changing positions every 2 or 3 years. So I've stayed in the same organization, but I've had a chance to do diverse things.
Yeah.
I've led the development team at one time. I led new business in the business. I did retail operations. I ran
Build It. You were there and Build It.
I was a divisional
well.
director for Build It for some time.
Yeah.
And I've run a couple of divisions as managing director. So I've been fortunate to kind of move around and do different things. So I've always been
That's
kept
actually
interested.
a good point. Yeah.
But I think purpose is so important, and Spar has a wonderful purpose. As an organization, and we're busy crafting a new strategy now, so it's not completely crafted. But at the heart of it, at the heart of that strategy is a purpose that I believe it's the purpose of our organization to unleash the power of independent retail. So we are a wholesaler, but our success lies in the success of the retailers. So we can only do as well as they do, because we don't sell to anybody else. We only sell to people with a Spar sign above their door. So when their stores do well, our business does well. And we have a diversified business these days, because we've got pharmacies, we've got building material stores under Build It. We've obviously got the liquor brand, probably our most popular brand. And then we've just we've just opened a pet business.
Oh, did you? Okay.
In Boksburg. And
Congratulations.
We're looking at expanding that.
Yeah.
But that purpose of unleashing the power of independent retail is something that I love.
Yeah.
I've had the fortune, and internally as a business, we believe Spar's made more millionaires in South Africa than any other business.
Wow. Hey. That's amazing, making a real difference to the economy. So there's this concept that you talked about in one of your interviews that I really like. Amafela ndawonye.
Okay. Interesting.
Because I mean, earlier you talked about collective and being together, and to build on that, and I really want you to take us into your confidence around this, because you talked a lot about leaders and followership. And I believe you like using analogy of sport or football in coaching your team and talking to them. And though you're a Chelsea fan, thank you very much, because so am I. So am I. It's Chelsea! But you like Sir Alex philosophy.
I do.
And so talk to us about that, because it's really about team play and keeping the team aligned, even though the team is dispersed. And you know, how talk to us a bit about that, because it's a very important leadership take.
Look, I think it's something, whether it's going to be successful or not, we'll see. So we've tried to be quite modern in terms of how we've recruited in the last while. And we've got leaders dispersed all over the country, which I think is what you were pointing out to. So I think, I mean, what I said, and I said it yesterday, right? So I support Chelsea. it's a labor of love. But it's better. Well, right now it's better than being a United fan. So, but you know, and I mean, to describe to you how much I respect Sir Alex, because I wouldn't say I like him.
Yeah.
I grew up in a coloured household. Rugby wasn't a big thing. We followed soccer.
Yeah.
Right. And sadly enough, you know, in South Africa, we don't support South African soccer enough. You know, we've all got an English team, and I feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, I grew up supporting Chelsea in a time where Man United were dominant.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And it was a choice I made, right?
Yeah.
So, and so Sir Alex won year after year after year, and then you'd hear he was going to retire, and then he changed his mind. And then, you know, I was a long stuff, and to give you an idea, I have literally in my diary, I'm not joking when I say this, on the 8th of May, every year, I have a little celebration on my own, because it's the day Sir Alex announced his retirement.
And the day our fortunes changed, or at least Man
100%.
United started going down.
100%. And so I wanted to understand what it was that he did to be as successful and as relentlessly successful as he was. And I think at the end of the day, you know, United, he handed over a team that had just won the Premier League. The new leader came in. They finished 4th that year, and that's the highest they finished.
Since.
I think they had one season where they ended 2nd under Mourinho.
Yeah.
But other than that, they've been 3rd, 4th.
Yeah.
Last season they were 14th or 15th.
Yeah.
And he handed over a team that was healthy. It had just won the league.
Wow.
And I think he's done quite a bit of leadership, writing on leadership. And he lectures at Harvard. And something that he was able to achieve was take a mediocre group of players. Mediocre is probably a strong word, but an average group of players, and get them to work in a system that made them greater than the sum of their parts. And I think the role of the leader is to do that.
Yes.
You know, if you've got 11 people who each of their value is 1, it doesn't take a genius to make the value of the team 11. It takes a genius to make the value of the team 22.
Yeah.
And
that's the multiplier effect.
And that's what I think he was able to do. And so I admire that greatly.
And how do you bring that into Spar?
I'm not sure.
But that is the and here we are thinking that CEOs or leaders have all the answers. And there's a power in saying I don't know, but I'll find out. Isn't it?
Yeah. Look, I don't think there's an exact formula.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's got to do with gut feel, understanding what the conditions you're dealing with on the day, and understanding where the team are. And I think understanding your own limitations as well is important. But then also choosing the right team. So I find the philosophy, and we have lots of disagreements about this inside the organization, right, is you can find A players, lots of A players, and put them together. Yeah. And they won't necessarily be a team.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I look at team members, the first thing I ask for, and I can find a nicer way of saying it, but it doesn't have the same effect. The first thing I want out of team members is I want people who give a shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't care about why you're there, then you know, maybe this isn't the right place for you.
Yeah.
And go find a place that you can care about.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The second thing I think about leadership, and I see this often, is that people can often be so individualistic and so personal goal-driven that they will sacrifice their impact on other people so that they can bring their part.
Sure.
And often that's not done on purpose. It's just their nature being so goal-driven that they don't think about the impacts on the people around them. So I think those sorts of players aren't bad players, but they're not necessarily the best ones for a team. And so you either have to find a way of guiding that so that it becomes more responsive to the team.
Yeah.
And so you want people in the team. Certainly, I want people in the team who are talented, but they're also empathetic and they're able to look at the guy on their left and the guy on their right, lady on their left, lady on their right, and say to themselves, okay, maybe I'm not going to get to 100% of my goal.
Yeah.
But me getting to 100 when the people next to me each get to 50 only gets us to 200.
Yeah.
But if I go to 90, but I can help the two guys next to me also get to 90, we're going to get to 270.
So now,
and that dynamic's important.
Now you walked into my next question. You love numbers. We've heard that. You like data. And one of your colleagues said they actually think that you are an undercover accountant. He studied engineering. And apparently you talk about IFRS 17 and whatever. But there's something there around pivoting or multi-skilling or broadening, learning and being relevant and broadening. Because I mean, like today, the world is AI. And we need to know how that is going to impact us. You know, a lot of retailers didn't know enough about e-commerce, but now they're delivering directly. So you have to pivot and keep on. How do you build a learning organization? And starting with yourself, how do you actually, is that an attitude thing? Is it, do you say, I spend 20% of the time doing this, or how does it work?
I mean, that's an interesting thought. I think that the most important thing is that you create an environment where people are allowed to fail. Because if you expect perfection all the time, no one's going to take a chance. And it's in taking a chance that people learn. And so you create an environment where that failure maybe doesn't get celebrated, but it gets appreciated for the lessons that you learn. I think that's probably a key thing. I think leaders, if you want to be a leader, you have to understand that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
That's a key starting point. And so, and you have to appreciate the people around you. I mean, I marvel at the skills of some of the people in our team. And I feel so fortunate to have them around. And at times I wonder why I'm sitting in the seat and why they're not.
Yeah. Wow.
And I mean, I say that with all honesty. And in an environment like that where you can feel that way, I think learning becomes natural. Because you realize that we've got functional experts in our business who come out of industry, who know things that are so obscure, but such strong specialist knowledge, that if you choose not to learn from that, that's actually an active choice, because the learning opportunity is there. I think then you also have to invest in learning, and the organization has to put their best foot forward in terms of giving people the opportunity to learn formally. But informal learning is probably more important than formal.
Yes.
And the world's going to be a different place, right? So I've got a very close friend. He's a Dutch guy who lived here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And him and I got very close. And he works in the Dutch government now. He's a spokesman for one of the big local politicians on that side. And but he worked for their broadcasting, so the equivalent of the SABC for a while.
Yeah.
And Ivo, in a discussion, he said to me, "You'll never believe what we've just employed." He said, and this is maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He said to me, "We've employed someone to be the head of Google search." I said, "Oh, that doesn't seem so strange."
10 years ago, yeah.
You know, my immediate the response was, it didn't seem so strange. Google was big 10 years ago. He said, no, I don't think you understand. He says, we employed somebody who understands how search engines work. Because the future is going to be not the people who have the answers. It's going to be based on the people who can ask the right questions.
Right questions.
And
wow. And that's AI prompting.
And that guy's, exactly. And that guy's whole job was to understand what people were asking.
Yeah.
And be able to interpret that and punch it into Google in a way that they got the most accurate response.
Amazing.
And I think, when I think about my daughter, when she finishes, the whole of human intellect is on the internet somewhere.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And so the skill she's going to have is not to find knowledge. Finding knowledge is going to be easy. To discern and understand which knowledge is applicable and which is most relevant for the situation she's in.
Yes.
That is going to be the most important skill.
Yeah.
And I think organizations need to prepare themselves for that.
Just picking up on what you've just said and bringing it back to family. I like I said, I interact with a lot of executives, and one of the most common questions and frustration is family time. That they're just so busy that, you talked about how your parents were there for you and that molded you. And so in terms of time spent with you versus the time that you have with your daughter or your own family, it's probably in the number of hours given the jobs they did versus what we do, it's less. How does that work? Or is this the use of technology? And in your situation, of course, you're also in two different geographies or regions. But from a parenting point of view and having a balance, how does a senior executive like yourself do it?
One of those things I also don't know.
Yeah.
Look, I think work is full on. There's no way around that.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate in a lot of ways. I think I got divorced 5 years ago, and that's not fortunate. Let me be clear about that. But what it did do was it meant that my time with my daughter changed in nature. So in some ways, being with her when her mom was around and the two of us, and you share the responsibility, it meant that in some ways that was parenting was something that happened to be peripherally. And in the scenario where it was only her and I, it meant that my focus needed to be there 100%, and it continues to be that way. And so she's been probably the thing that's kept me most sane, because she will pick my phone up and throw me and say, "Dad, you've had enough.
Yeah,
I'm here." So that helps.
Amazing.
And I think for me, probably the lesson I've learned from that is that it's not just time, right? It's quality that matters, and you got to find the balance between those two. It's remaining engaged in a world where not being engaged is the norm.
Yeah.
We all find ourselves, I mean, I laugh at myself. I cannot stand standing in a queue, right? But you want to make a queue bad, take my phone away from me, right? Because I stand in the queue at a time where I could have probably thought about something deeply. I find myself scrolling, going through email, just so, because the idea of boredom doesn't exist these days, because you never have.
There's just so much.
But there's some really great studies that prove that creativity needs boredom.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yes.
And so in a world that is hyper engaged all the time,
creativity,
we're going to lose creativity. And so I think that having that space, quality time with the family, it cannot just be time, it's got to be quality too.
Yeah, it is.
And so we have to create work environments that are flexible. And we do strange things as human beings, we really do. The only reason why we work 8 to 5 in my mind. The only reason I can figure out why that exists is because we all need a common time at which we can contact each other. Other than that, why do working hours exist?
Yeah.
And so depending on your role, I think we should allow people to have the flexibility to be able to check in and check out when they need to. But it creates other challenges. It creates challenges around creating culture in organizations. It does make organizations vulnerable because people can take advantage of it. And so you need to try to balance all of these things. And I don't know the answer, but you try to find
it's work in progress, right? Okay, so we're going to move to our audience soon. I'll ask the last question. Get ready with yours. And make sure that you get spotted because we only take 6 questions because of time, right? So I don't think they take brown envelopes to accept questions. They just get spotted. My last question, we talked about tough economic times and the time when you took over the business. There was a lot of challenges, IT or SEP and leadership challenges and all of that. It must have been a very stressful period, but you seem quite calm. I mean, of course, it's over. But how do you stay focused and calm personally and as a leader in a turmoil? Because the external environment is quite stressful. There's a lot of noise and you need to try and focus. Do you go for a run? Do you jump in a swim? Or you just disappear a little bit and isolate?
I think physical activity is important. So I do run. I try. Not that my stomach says that. I've put on a few kgs since I've taken on the job. But I think I'm fortunate. I think that it's my nature to be calm. But also, I think, I mean, in the context of taking over, it was an opportunity to provide a safe haven and stability for the people around me. I think the organization needed something to coalesce around, and I was fortunate enough for the board to ask me to play that role. And I mean, we spoke about changing organizations. I truly believe in the purpose of our organization, and so being given that opportunity was a gift. I can't look at it any other way. And you learn a lot about yourself. It was a fascinating time. For me, was it stressful? It was incredibly stressful. But am I a better person because of it? I think so.
Absolutely.
Nedbank private clients get rewarded with greenbacks. Get up to 30% off on flights with Greenbacks Travel on Avo and up to 2% unlimited cashback on all Nedbank Amex card purchases. Plus, even more rewards on Fridays. Join Nedbank private clients today. See money differently. Nedbank.
Greetings, my name is Hazel Bamba. I'm with ACI. When you spoke about leadership and that you have to be almost, it's a group, it's a collective energy to choose you, but leadership is weighty. When did you decide that I am going to carry the weight of, it's not just I'm the leader, I get more money. It's, heck, this is you, people stand and fall based on your decision. It's a weighty one and you have to make the choice to carry that weight. What was that decision like for you?
I don't think it really was, to be honest. As a start, I can say, I think if you're doing it only for the money, it's not worth it. And it's easy to say from my position, I guess. But I truly believe that. I think if that's the only reason, then the money is not worth it. It's never going to be enough. And I don't think I ever made that choice actively. I mean, I can honestly say I started out as a cashier at Woolies while I was studying, and as you pointed out, I studied engineering. I never thought that that I would be a business leader at all. I've been very fortunate that I've had a number of mentors and people who've seen something in me. And as I say, I think it certainly the last one, the last opportunity I've been given, which is the role I'm in at the moment, wasn't about me. It was about what the organization needed at the time. And I've been fortunate to benefit from that. But ultimately it was about Spar, it wasn't about Angelo. So it's a difficult question for me to answer.
Yeah.
I think the best answer I can give you is that there are days when I get home and I wonder, is this worth it?
Yeah.
I really do have those days. You know, it doesn't happen often, but it happens. But then when you get up in the morning and I go for that first cup of coffee, I have no doubt about where I'm going and why, and I don't feel like it's a challenge. And so I think that choice is every day. You know, it's when I get up in the morning, am I going to somewhere that I'd rather be somewhere else?
Yeah.
That never happens.
And just thank you for that level of vulnerability as well, right? But it's just two reflections. I think the one about how do you lift yourself up every day to start on a high, and just making sure that you bring the best of you every day. It's conscious, and I like what you said, that when I wake up in the morning, you almost have to tune yourself into that space so that you show up. And then the second thing is just a side note. I didn't know this, but that you started off as a cashier. I started off as a sales casual at Edgar's Adele Street. Well, I used to sell jeans on the second floor of Adele Street there, and I was quite competitive. So yeah, while I was still at school, that was weekends.
To be fair, I did. If I go back to where I technically started, also Edgar's.
Okay.
And I think I was in standard 9.
Yeah.
And I received tracks, worked in receiving with.
Oh, you were in the receiving, no?
Receiving,
Logistics. Yeah. Amazing.
And then the sales assistant later. But so yeah. I mean, I think Edgar's back then was actually, they had a really great.
No, they had great training, eh?
They had great training, and they had a great philosophy about how to get talent in the business. They started really early. Got kids in from school and were able to sort of sift out the talent.
No, it was fantastic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I greet you all in the wonderful name of Jesus Christ. I'm Yolanda from Chepa Streetwear, and I'm a garment technician, so Nyimpini is wearing our garment.
I'm dressed by Chepa.
Nyimpini, Mr. Swartz. So you've been with the Spar Group for 18 years, which is very remarkable. My question to you is, during this time, were there moments where you considered yourself of going elsewhere and exploring other adventures? Or if so, what inspired you? Or was it because of the company's slogan, My Spar, Our Tomorrow? And is it something that is deeper than that has kept you in the brand?
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
That's it. I mean, it's an interesting way to frame the question. I have had opportunities to go elsewhere, and I guess I can't say that I've never been tempted. But for one reason or the other, the timing hasn't been right. I haven't felt it was the right opportunity. I stayed with Spar. So there are moments. I mean, life is what is Obama? Barack Obama says that that progress is never a straight line.
Yeah.
Right? And I think your career is similar. There are good times and there are bad times, and hopefully, if it all goes in the right direction, it goes upward rather than the other way.
Amazing.
So I haven't. I've certainly had opportunities. I've never chosen to follow through on any of them. I think Spar, as I said, the purpose really sticks with me, and I've had the fortune, right? So I actually had the most interesting experience here, not too long ago. We have an annual convention where all our retailers get together, or not all, but a big portion of them at Sun City twice a year. Not twice a year, once a year. But then we have one for Build It as well, which is one of our sub brands.
Yeah.
And I was walking with our COO, Megan's husband, at the Build It one. And anyway, we met this retailer who I'd known for a long time. I'd known him for probably 15 years or so. And as we parted, so we stopped and had a drink together. I don't drink, but we stopped at the bar.
Yeah.
And as I was leaving, he said to Megan's husband, Donovan, he said to Don, you know, this guy, I had one store and he inspired me to get my second, and I now have 7, and he's the reason, you know.
Wow.
And I mean,
Wow.
it was like one of those moments that gets you to stand still, because you don't always understand your impact on other people. So you know, in an organization where that is something that you're able to do, it's hard to leave.
Yeah.
It's
family. It's like so tight.
It's purpose, right? It's purpose. But then and when I thought about that, there's the other side of the coin. I've also had the misfortune, or fortune, depends on the way you look at it, of having to walk into someone's business who is really not going to make it, and he's running up in debt and pitching up at the store with a sheriff to close the store down. And certainly when I was in the divisions, I always felt that if you were going to close someone's business, you don't send someone there to do it. You do it yourself, if that's your responsibility. And so standing and looking at someone in the face when you're doing that makes you realize the immense responsibility you have. And I think the duality between those two things talks to the purpose of our organization and inspires me. It gives me, makes it easy to get up and say, that's what I want to do today.
So I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to surprise you by the depth of our research. Maybe we should actually do a bit of an investigative journalism here. Because you talk about the convention, but you also have these annual trips.
Yes.
Incentive trips. What do you call them?
Ladder of success.
Yes, ladder of success, exactly. So there you take
the brand.
Then you take the best performing on whatever the award winning to a nice destination for this. And apparently in one of those, there's been an engagement or a wedding where you actually, I don't know whether you played the role of COVID. What is it? Not COVID, Cupid. And you bought flowers, or maybe you were even a pastor.
No,
it gets quite personal.
It was even worse than that.
What happened there?
So, as you say, we have these trips.
Yeah.
And we were hosting a trip to Mauritius, and it was big. It was we don't always. It was one of our significant years. I think it was when we turned 60, and we took 300 of our best retailers, or 150 of them, couples.
With the
so
partners.
there were 300 of us in Mauritius, and it was a store owner who I was very close to, who'd been engaged for the longest time, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And they're an older couple, so you know, don't picture a young
a young couple with a store.
Couple. So I mean, the lady Alicia and I she was. I won't go into the history, but she was a mother figure to me, and she got engaged to Charles, and they just never did anything about it. And so we get to Mauritius, and Charles calls me over and he says, "I've decided we're getting married while we're here." And so we were there for a week, and he wants to surprise Alicia. So. I had to arrange a wedding
In like what, 2 days?
It was literally, I think we married them that evening. So.
Oh wow!
And I
How
played,
do you leave a business like that?
I had to be MC.
Yeah.
But I mean, the resort were amazing. They went out and found a priest, and they set up everything for us on the beach.
Amazing.
And Spar people are Spar people. So the closest people in our life were there. So it was. I had to explain to her daughter, because her daughter wasn't there, why she wasn't at the wedding. But other than that, it was and so, you know, when that's part of what you do every day, it's a wonderful privilege. Really is.
But it looks like you don't have problems with retirement. You've got side hustles you can go to. MC, wedding planner. It's good to be multi-skilled.
You're speaking to Nomkhosi Mdlalose. I'm an administrator for Seats at the Table. Thank you, Angelo, for coming out tonight. It's been an insightful night. I just wanted to know, as Spar's expansion is growing, do you think Spar one day will also be in rural areas? Because most people in the rural areas are big buyers in wholesalers. Thank you.
That's an interesting question, and I mean, I'd love to talk about that at some point, because people underestimate how big Spar is in the rural areas. I think particularly, and it depends on where you're from. So the rural Eastern Cape and rural KZN, Spar is actually the market leader. So we really have significant presence there. Maybe less so inland. Although Limpopo, we're quite strong. And
is this with the Save More brand?
No, that's with the Spar brand.
With the Spar brand, okay, wow.
With the Spar brand. I think the retail environment is going to be interesting in terms of Spars are developed. So, and it depends on how what you consider rural, right? So, whether and so I've got to be careful about language. So, and I'll go back to the Eastern Cape because it's where I come from, but. It depends on whether you consider Umtata rural or not, right? So, or in Gobo, or whether you're talking about the lullies outside of the villages. I think in the villages themselves, particularly in the former homelands, it will be difficult for a formal retailer to go in there. But I also think as a corporate, and particularly one where we believe that we have to empower entrepreneurs, I think we have to be very cautious of trying to go after every rand and cent. I think that the spaza and township economies are massively important to this country. And if we go and over-formalize those, there's a danger to that. And so I think in future our view in that space is how do we, as an organization, unlock the potential for the owners of smaller enterprises and spaza shops. I think that would be probably the better way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a responsibility on us to look at how we do that. But together with that, I also think we got to be very cautious of over-formalizing the informal.
Yeah.
I think there's a beauty in informal trade that we don't want to lose. And as soon as it becomes too formalized and overly regulated, you increase the barrier to entry, and you don't want that. In a country like South Africa, what we need is more entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we shouldn't make it harder for them to enter the market.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are basic rules around food safety, and we've seen the consequences of when that goes wrong. So that must be paramount. But beyond that, we need to get rid of the red tape, make it easier to be an entrepreneur, not harder.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Nomcebo Bengu. I am in the television space. And my question is, I think you touched on the conversation of AI, which is an interesting one for me, a fascination. I think when anybody talks about AI, I jump up and down a bit, because there's a right way of doing it and there's a wrong way of doing it, right? In the workplace, there's regulations that I think need to be implemented, and how we then utilize to actually enhance our minds instead of creating a generation that is unable to think properly or function well, because the dependency is then AI. So for me, the question is, what is the future of AI within your business, and what is the future of AI within your retail stores? Internationally, I've seen some stores, when you go to the till, you actually don't have, you have AI servicing you, and you don't need a human being to process your groceries and pay for your groceries. So what does that look like for Spar? That's one question, and then I'll go to the other.
I mean, the emergence of AI as a technology has been coming for a long time. In fact, one of our board members, one of our non-executive board members, did some foundational studies on AI in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
At Cornell. So this is how long it's been coming.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, you say the right way and the wrong way. If you think about Isaac Asimov, he's an author who wrote about science fiction, and AI is ubiquitous through his books, and he was prolific in the 70s and 80s, and he had one commonality through all the books he wrote, was the basic rules of artificial intelligence, and so in his books he used to write in. There were 3 fundamental rules. I can't remember all of them, but they basically go: I will never do anything to hurt a human being. I will never do anything. I will never not do anything to help a human being. So there's some basic things that were written in his envisioning of this, and often science fiction predicts the future. So I think as AI develops, I think we're going to have to be very careful as a species. This is not a work thing, right? It's existential for the human race, I think, in many ways. How we deal with the technology. Beyond that, it's got unbelievable application in so many things. And so I think, for instance, in a country like ours, I don't think it's responsible to have self-checkout tools. Or I think we are responsible for job creation in a country like South Africa. So I think one has to be careful and responsible about how you use that. But at the same time, customers are more individual these days, right? And the way markets have worked in the past is to try and understand your customers and the customer base. You segment them, and you've all heard about market segmentation, customer segmentation. And I think what we have the capability of doing now is to deal with each customer as a segment of one, with their own individual needs, their own individual nuances. And you're going to see that play out both in terms of the choices you make at your grocery store, but more excitingly, I think you're going to see it play out in health. I think it's more and more clear that our bodies don't all react the same way to medications. And AI has the potential of answering a whole bunch of questions for us. How we choose to use it is going to be ultimately what determines its future. But I think the application in terms of making people's jobs easier is going to be great. The application that we're already seeing in terms of corporate governance and risk management is fascinating and has great application. And then what it does for supply chains, understanding inventory levels and optimal working capital, management. All of that stuff's really cool. And I think what we'll see is the first real phase of AI will focus on those things that we don't necessarily see in the customer experience. It's on those things in the back end to understand demand forecasting and do very simple things around account reconciliations and simple tasks in that space. But down the line, I think ultimately what it will do is help organizations understand customers more acutely. But the wonderful thing about Spar, and now I'm giving ourselves a plug, is because our stores are owned by entrepreneurs, AI can understand a lot of things about you. But AI is never going to be able to see the old lady who goes to the hairdresser on every Tuesday and comes into the store, and the store owner say to them, "What a wonderful haircut you've had."
Yeah.
AI is never going to do that.
A robot can't do that.
Yeah. And so I think from a Spar perspective, it's going to be is to see how AI gets us to understand our customers better, but then how we apply the personal touch that is the secret of our success to the knowledge we gain.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, as they say, all good things come to an end. Sadly. But Angelo has been very generous. I promised him 1 hour, he just kept on going. And, I can't abuse him beyond what I've done. Angelo, thank you. I really want to thank you on behalf of the CEO Nights team and on behalf of our audience. And the many people who are going to be watching this once it goes out. I learned a lot around keeping it real, authenticity. Really, a lot of people talk about purpose, but the way that you put it today just took it to another level. So for me, authenticity, purpose, and staying curious.
That's important.
Staying curious. There's many takeaways, but if I were to summarize for myself, it's really been those three. Thank you, audience, for joining us for another inspiring night. And remember to like, follow, and subscribe onto the CEO Night channel. And I also want to thank our sponsors, Nedbank, our main sponsor, our associate sponsor, Avis, my wardrobe sponsor, Chepa, and all of the people who have made it happen here, as well as the crew. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.